Morning, everyone. It's a lovely sunny day outside, and I'm having some chicory coffee. Why am I having chicory coffee? Well, I happened to mention it at work, and my boss said that she had never actually tried chicory coffee. And at the time, I was kind of complaining about it because we occasionally got a brand of chicory coffee in the Navy as part of our store's load. And I think that this particular brand, it was like half chicory, half actual coffee. And it was, well, it was not good at all. The I think they used a really cheap coffee. It was obviously a really inexpensive brand, but the reason it was inexpensive, they used a really cheap coffee. Um, I suspect, I haven't actually looked it up to verify this, but I suspect that this brand uses Robusto coffee beans. There are two types of coffee beans that are sort of commonly domesticated around the world. Arabica is the main one. That's the sort of considered to be the higher grade of coffee. And then Robusta, it's a different variety. Um, it tends to be uh, not as subtle as Arabica. It has a lot of flavors that people consider to be negative. Um, sort of an earthiness. It's higher bitterness. Um, in just not as many of the sort of fruit forward flavors that some people can detect in coffee. I frequently do not describe coffee as fruity in any way, but some people can detect fruity notes. Um, any sort of herbaceousness is just gone. It's just grab you by the short and curlies kind of coffee. And if you drink coffee for effect more than flavor, then sure. But then this company went and blended it 50-50 with chicory. Now, what is chicory? It is a root from a plant with very pretty blue flowers. It's actually in the same family as radicchio, Belgian endive, that sort of thing. And in fact, the leaves of this plant can be eaten just like endive. But the root has been used. It's dried, roasted, and ground up and used as a caffeine-free coffee alternative. It has a lot of the same notes. It's you know somewhat bitter, somewhat earthy, and that people have used it for a long time as a coffee substitute. Um, I have never actually had 100% chicory coffee. I've always had the nasty um, half coffee, half chicory blends that weren't very good. I think the blend emphasizes the worst of both ingredients. So this is the first time that I've actually tried just straight 100% chicory coffee. Let's see if it's any good. Now, right off the bat, just the aroma is a little different. And in some ways, it's actually almost more pleasant than regular coffee. There's there's almost sort of a spiciness to it. A little bit of black pepper, a little bit of um, cinnamon, nutmeg, and just the hint of, to me, what smells actually like caramel, which is interesting. I haven't added anything to this. This is just straight chicory coffee made with regular old tap water. So it's just what's coming off of it. Okay, so there's that bitterness. It's very roasty. Um, very reminiscent of 1980s era, 1990s era Starbucks. People were just simply not used to the taste of French roast or espresso roast, and so everybody sort of made fun of Starbucks and they called them Charbucks because They thought the coffee was actually burnt. It's not. It's just really, really dark roast. This has that bitterness to it, and yet it's it's lighter. Coffee has almost a I hesitate to say a viscosity to it because it's still just clear liquid, but it almost has a sort of a thicker mouth feel. This feels more like a tea in terms of consistency. The spiciness, no, it's still a little bit there. There's no caramel flavor. It's certainly not sweet. That's more not on the nose. Um, there's a little bit of an earthiness. I remember my biggest complaint about the half coffee, half chicory um, experience was that it was. I think I was polite and described it as earthy at the time, but it tasted like dirt. Um, and there's a tiny, tiny hint of that here. I can go back to saying it's earthy minerality to it. I guess we'll put it that way. It almost sort of speaks of the soil that the root came from, um, but not in a bad way. It's definitely just a tasting note that it is kind of earthy. I can see this is definitely a viable coffee alternative if you like the basic flavor profile of coffee, but don't want the caffeine. Um, Even decaffeinated coffee has a tiny bit of caffeine. It has most of the caffeine removed, but in the process of decaffeination, a little bit is left behind. One of the negatives of decaf coffee that a lot of sort of coffee snobs will say is that the process of decaffeinating the coffee also removes some of the flavors. Um, you're essentially you're essentially sort of washing away um, a lot of volatile compounds from the coffee in the process of removing the caffeine, and so decaffeinated coffee definitely tastes lesser than in whatever ways that you can detect. It can be not quite as robust a flavor. Um, a lot of the sort of subtle nuances kind of go away, and you're just left with bitter brew. This you don't have that because you haven't processed it at all. It is dried, roasted, and ground and put into a bag for you. So, um, yeah, if you're looking for a coffee alternative, chicory coffee is a way to go. I don't know if there are blends out there that have half coffee, half chicory that taste good. I know there's at least one that does not. But this is actually pretty tasty. Now, I am the type of person who drinks coffee for effect as well as flavor. So we'll throw this in the rotation. After dinner coffee is probably a good time for this, so you're not awake until 3 a.m. Um, or any time after like noon. For a lot of people, if they drink coffee at all after noon, then they're up until 3 in the morning. Me, I have been known to actually drink coffee a half an hour before going to bed and, well, not noticing any problem sleeping. Um, that's just that's just how I'm built. But for those of you who have a bit more, or I guess a bit less, of a tolerance for caffeine than I do, um, something like chicory coffee may be a viable solution for you. So, cheers. I hope you have a good day. And thank you for watching Recipe Redemption.